Hey guys, Sebastian here. You see, if you work for the county or you work for the state of Florida, I want you to pay very close attention to what I'm about to go through because you have something called the drop that you could enroll in. And many people don't really understand how it works and if it's something that you should actually enroll in. If you want to learn more, let's jump right in, guys. All right, guys, so let's say that you've been working for the city or maybe the state or maybe the county, right? Many of you that have been working for 10, 20, 30 years, after a specific period of time, you are offered something called the drop, which means you are allowed to actually enroll into a special program for people that are ready to about retire.
It's my greatest dream come true.
So this is the way the program works. What they're usually going to do is they're going to grab what's called your years of service. So in other words, did you work for 5 years, 20 years, 30 years? And there's usually like a minimum amount of period before you actually become vested. So they're going to grab that. Then they're going to grab also something called your average final compensation. So what does that mean? That means that they're probably going to grab maybe your highest 5 years of your entire career. And they're going to grab that number and then they're going to get the average final compensation of your highest 5 years. And then from there, they're going to get something called your accrual rate. So that accrual rate will depend on the type of job that you had. So if you were a special risk class, your accrual rate might be a little bit higher than if you're, for example, you were a teacher. So let's say that your years of service that you worked was 30 years. Your average final compensation for your highest 5 years, as an example, was, call it $60,000. And then let's say your accrual rate is 1.6%. So what the government is going to do, the state is actually going to grab all of this information and they're going to multiply it all together. Once they multiply that, they're going to get what's called your actual pension that you will be receiving on a monthly basis. And if we multiply that, that gives us a total of $28,800 on a yearly basis would be the pension that you would be receiving from the state for the rest of your life. So again, you want to make sure that you figure out all this information to actually calculate how much your pension is. Now, this is what the government does. They're going to actually grab your pension, and if you decide to enroll in Drop, they're going to create what I like to call a bucket. And inside that bucket, they're going to grab your annual pension, which is close to about $2,400 a month. They're going to grab this money and they're going to begin to deposit it into this bucket called your drop. And over usually a 5-year period, depending on how long you've been working there and a bunch of other factors, they're going to deposit those $28,000. So if you multiply $28,000 and you multiply that by 5 years, that gives us a total of $144,000. So that means after your 5 years that you've been enrolled in Drop, you actually will walk out from the county, from the state, you will walk out with a pension, and then on top of that, you're gonna walk out with this giant bucket of money of $144,000. Now, this is the mistake that you cannot do. Once they give you that, you cannot or you should not be taking the $144,000. You should be doing something called a rollover. You should be moving that money to another form of tax deferred account.
What?
So in that, you can do what's called 457s. Usually I prefer IRAs, and there's different forms of accounts that you could be using. By you doing your rollover, you actually are not going to have to pay any taxes for taking the $144,000 and moving it into another tax deferred environment. So please make sure that you understand very, very well. Now, I know, guys, this is a lot of information and this can get a lot more into detail. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and write it on the comment section. I'll gladly answer your questions because, again, we want to make sure that people know how to make the best decisions with their money. I mean, think about it. You've been working for 20, 30 years and you're about to retire. You want to make sure that you make the right decision in how you are managing this money. You have one opportunity to actually retire and stay retired. Nobody wants to be in a position where they actually stop working and then a few years later, they have to get back to work.
No! God, please, no! No!
Now guys, I want to let you know one last thing. You see, the drop is not always the best option. We have actually an entire video that we put together that actually explains the difference between the pension and not enrolling into the drop and what's called your lump sum investment plan. So check out those videos, because again, if you're going to be making this decision of enrolling in drop, you want to make sure you've analyzed every single option to figure out which one's the best option for you.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you want to see content just like this, you can go on our channel right now and look at different videos. If you also have questions or suggestions as to what you want to see, please go ahead and comment below, and then like, share this video, subscribe, and then click the notification bell so that you're notified whenever a new video comes out. We thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one.